This is confirmed. This is the actual Marvel Studios account. Says the Future Foundation invites you to take your first steps into a fantastic new era. Launch coverage begins at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 a.m. Pacific Time. That's wild as hell. Are any of you on the West Coast actually getting your ass up at 4 a.m. for the Fantastic Four? Will that help it be a little less crazy? We're like, oh man, it's fucking 4 a.m. But you know, it's the Fantastic Four, and that's a 4, and this is 4 a.m. So I'm excited about it. Would love to know. So this is pretty crazy. Now let's back it up a little bit, because I do think the story of this story is kind of fun. We thought this trailer was coming out for the Super Bowl. Man, I was pretty convinced that it would be. And in fact, I had written a video, I had recorded a video, I had edited a big portion of a video, and I had sent it over to my editor to finish. And the premise of this video was going to be breaking down the potential trailers for the Super Bowl. What are we going to see there? And what do we expect to see within these trailers? Okay? I was convinced that the Fantastic Four would come out on the Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, a little story popped up, and it said that there was a press release that went out for Good Morning America, which indicated that you would get the first trailer of the Fantastic Four. And I was like, what the hell? So I immediately stopped that video. It kind of threw off my whole weekend, whatever. It is a part of the game. But I was like, is this real? Are they really going to drop this thing on GMA on a Tuesday? I mean, that feels weird. Not like in just a regular week. You know, GMA, of course, that's a good spot for trailers. It's got a lot of like normies that watch it. It's also owned by Disney or whatever, right? So that makes sense. Tuesday's fine. You know, I got nothing against Tuesdays. The 4th of February, that's cool too. You know, fine. F4, February 4th, real cute. But the fact that the Super Bowl's this Sunday, we're getting this trailer on a Tuesday, kind of weird. I'm going to be honest. Kind of weird. Kind of threw me. And then the GMA people actually took that out. They deleted that from the press release. And so up until this came out, which was literally 10 a.m. this morning, about an hour ago, I was not sure. I was like, is this trailer actually going to release tomorrow? What's the deal with that? So we get this official look here. And yes, it is dropping tomorrow. Now, this came with a little teaser spot. So let's watch this little teaser spot together. It does have some of the theme, Michael Giacchino's theme here. So let's check this out together. And I love that build at the end there. Of course, it says tomorrow launch coverage begins at 7 a.m. Eastern time. And look, the deal here, of course, is they're tapping into that nostalgia. This is like a 60s, 70s vibe, right? Bunch of kids running up to where you can actually see a bunch of TVs. And these are tube TVs, too, which is kind of wild. All on display. And, you know, we're seeing some of the launch sequence. We're seeing some of them in their actual astronaut uniform, prepare F4 launch. Okay, so Future Foundation, the idea of the trailer, we're starting to see, even before the official trailer is revealed tomorrow, what is the vibe? What are they trying to accomplish with this trailer? So I think with this whole look at the Future Foundation and the nostalgic piece, what we're probably going to get here, and again, this is a teaser trailer, but what we're going to get is probably a version of some of the leaked trailers that we got before. Now, during San Diego Comic-Con last year, they did have a really cool presentation for the Fantastic Four. You'll recall there was that flying car, which I think was done with like drones and whatnot, but it looked super cool, super slick, like Jetsons looking car that like floated up to the stage. And they did have a sizzler reel for everybody to see at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, this thing leaked out online. A lot of us watched it. The thing about that teaser is it was not using any of the actual footage for the movie. This was actually all the actors getting together with Matt Shackman, and they shot some stuff, but they're not on set. They literally like did a version of the costumes, version of all this stuff, just shot some stuff for the nostalgia, and then put it into the trailer. Later on, at, I believe, CCXP in Brazil in December, there was another version of that teaser trailer that was shown. That version was using actual footage from the film. Sue Storm's costume looked a little bit different. Things were just tightened up a little bit. And so they've been building the promotion for this movie kind of behind the scenes based off of these vibes of this nostalgic thing. And I think with the Future Foundation in general, you can kind of see that the way Marvel wants to use the concept of the Future Foundation within the marketing here is almost as though it's like Bill Nye the Science Guy kind of a program, like a public broadcast system program where the Future Foundation's coming in to your home to explain cool stuff about the world, maybe the galaxy, etc. That kind of feels like the vibes that they are going for here. So I would expect tomorrow's trailer to match a lot of those vibes. However, I also think that considering the competition that's out there, you know, Superman, the Jurassic movie, a lot of other stuff, I do think Marvel needs to sort of plant their flag a bit more than just using this nostalgia and all of that kind of vibes. So I would expect some teases for the sort of larger, crazy elements of this thing. And I'm kind of wondering if in any way the trailer will show that this side of the Fantastic Four, this like family first, celebrity focused team, this whole idea of the Fantastic Four might end up being something of a facade. It might actually not be real. And some of the rumors about the plot indicate that this is like a veneer that will be removed and the public will form a new perspective on the Fantastic Four. That's really interesting. I wonder if that idea will be teased at all in the trailer tomorrow. Now, the things that I'm looking for, the things that would cause me to go absolutely nuts, of course, number one, it's Galactus. Now, we've seen a bit of Galactus. Even in the footage that was shown at San Diego Comic-Con, you have some look at Galactus, like his eyes are looking through the Baxter Building window or something like that. I believe this was also in the trailer that was shown at D23. So they have like a shot of Galactus that they could have potentially done more VFX work on so that it's like ready for the public. So I'd expect some Galactus. Now, I'm personally hoping we get a sense of just how badass Galactus is. Like something really crazy, showing the power, the cosmic side of Galactus. Maybe him destroying a whole planet or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too wild. But I would really appreciate it. So I'm hopeful for some big G stuff, man. I mean, Aniston's voice, right? His voice as Galactus, man, that shit has had me hyped up since I found out about his casting. He has an incredible voice. And so I just can't wait to hear that man's voice deliver some cold ass Galactus lines, bro. That shit's going to be really cool. So Galactus, man, that would pique my interest for sure. Again, I think you're going to get a lot of vibes of like the 60s, their launch, that whole nostalgic thing. I think that is obvious. But another thing that I'm hoping for is something to do with Franklin Richards. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I kind of put this as a low possibility for the trailer. I think Galactus has a fairly high possibility, but I truly think that Franklin Richards has kind of a low possibility. Now, for the sweaty among us, right, for the super nerdy people that are out there, Franklin Richards is a huge deal. Franklin Richards is the son of Sue Storm and Reed Richards. He's an Omega level mutant. He's a reality warping being. He is one of the most powerful and fascinating characters in Marvel Comics history. I absolutely love the Franklin Richards character. And I'm super excited that he's in this movie. And I'm very excited about the potential rumors of what Franklin will actually be doing in this film. Now, the idea of the Future Foundation is kind of interesting. In Marvel Comics, quick little TLDR on this. In Marvel Comics, this is all from the Jonathan Hickman comic book run, his Fantastic Four. This story begins with Reed Richards being involved in a think tank. That's just like a group of really smart people on Earth. And also it has to do with him being involved in the Council of Reeds. Reed is trying to solve the problem of everything, right? He's always solving problems, but at some point he's like, how do I solve all the problems, right? So that's kind of like where this thought process takes him in as far as the Future Foundation. All that stuff falls apart. The Council of Reeds falls apart. Crazy Celestials come in and basically kill everybody. Reed gets out of there. And then you see that Reed Richards stops his think tank group on Earth, and instead he forms a group of young people to try to solve the problems of the future. The idea being that all of these old people aren't really invested in solving these problems. They're all just kind of selfishly looking at their own stake in life. And Reed thought, if I got all these young people together to try to solve the world's future problems, they're actually invested in the future because it's their future. So that's the direction I'm going to go in. That's what the Future Foundation is. The Future Foundation also has both of Reed's kids, okay? So it has Valeria Richards and it has Franklin Richards. They are members of the Future Foundation. So with the Future Foundation being a thing in this movie, and obviously a big part of the marketing push, at least thus far, I wonder if Franklin and Valeria will be seen as a part of that, or if they're taking kind of a different approach. Not really sure. And then, of course, the biggest deal that they could drop in this trailer, the thing that I think would really break the internet and shock fans and maybe just cause this trailer to blow up or to get all sorts of hype, would be Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Now, as far as we know, Robert Downey Jr. is a part of this movie. The rumors currently indicate that he's a small part of the movie and that he will be either in a post-credit scene or perhaps at the end of this film, and his presence will be felt throughout the movie, but he's not actually going to be in the movie a lot, and it'll be a big setup for what is to come in Doomsday. There's basically just so many rumors with regards to Fantastic Four, but the logic from, scoopers and people that are on the inside, they are all saying that the Fantastic Four movie is a huge setup for Doomsday, and perhaps the biggest setup for Doomsday out of this year of movies, right? We've got Captain America, we've got Thunderbolts, and we've got the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four movie is also the only film this year that was greenlit and exist outside of like the Phase 4 mentality. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Captain America introduced during Phase 4. It had a completely different name. Maybe a lot of things have changed with that film. Thunderbolt was supposed to be a sequel to Black Widow. It had a completely different logo, different costumes, different look. That movie has changed a lot over time. Getting the beef people from Netflix involved seems to be a big win for that creative team. The point I'm making, though, is Thunderbolt, Captain America, these are movies we've known about for like 5+ years. They were developed during the Phase 4 time period, which is kind of sketchy. Fantastic Four is the first movie outside of that group of films that we are going to see. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine, sort of. Fantastic Four, though, is like a direct part of the plan to get us to Doomsday and to get us excited for what's coming with RDJ Doom and the end of the multiverse saga. So there's a lot of questions, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of questions about what to expect for tomorrow's Fantastic Four trailer. And I guess for me, like the thing I'm looking for the most is that this thing pops off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's enough to establish this really cool nostalgic vibe for the team. They look like the Fantastic Four, and Galactus is there, and this is a Fantastic Four movie. I personally don't think that's good enough. And I'm hoping that the marketing of this movie is going to immediately, because this is the first time that the main public is going to get a look at this film. I hope that the marketing and the trailer that we see tomorrow is like a smack to the face, and it shocks us, and it immediately presents itself as something much more than just a Fantastic Four movie. All of the stuff that I'm talking about, right? The vibes, the nostalgia, the costuming, that whole family thing. That's all fine. That's good. And it's appropriate for the property. But I think there's way more to it. And according to a lot of the leaks and rumors, there's a darkness to this movie There's some really shocking elements to this movie, and I think it's going to be a lot bigger in scope than people realize. So I'm hoping that tomorrow is the first time that that gets actually authentically shown to people. And I'm hoping that it begins a conversation, right? Begins a conversation about what this could all possibly mean. What's really going on? That is what I'm hoping for. So we're going to find out together. It's mere hours away at this point. The trailer, first teaser, Fantastic Four drops tomorrow. That's what I expect from the trailer and sort of the story of how we got here. It's also wild, too. I'll say one other thing on this. It's so wild that they're doing this on GMA. I don't really understand, right? And we're going to get into like the Super Bowl trailer, some of these other things that are going on. Why does Marvel want to have the Fantastic Four trailer debut and then we get into the Super Bowl, which will possibly then show Captain America, Brave New World, and Thunderbolts, right? Like, what's the logic there? I don't fully understand it. And I am a little bit confused on that. And there's part of me that's concerned about the marketing for Fantastic Four. Like, is this getting lost in the sauce? Is this an appropriate way to do this to give it its proper shine? Would it get buried by the Thunderbolts on Super Bowl? Like, what's actually going on? I'm not really sure, but it's weird. And I think we'll find out more tomorrow. When we see the trailer, when we see how it hits fans, we'll be able to say like, oh yeah, dude, this was a really good idea. Or, oh, I don't know about this. Maybe you should have saved it for the Super Bowl. We will talk more about that when we see it. Thanks for watching. And if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.